$100. Let that number sink in for a moment. Not $100 for a collector's edition, packed with a steelbook, an art book, and a fancy resin statue you'll dust off once a year. We're talking $100 for the standard, digital, or physical base version of a single video game. For over a decade, the world has waited, speculated, and dreamed about the next chapter in the Grand Theft Auto saga. And now, as the dawn of its release begins to break over the horizon, a new and unsettling question emerges, eclipsing even the speculation about the story or map size. It's a question that cuts right to the heart of our hobby. How much will it cost to simply play the most anticipated game of all time? Today, we are diving headfirst into the bombshell interview with Take-Two Interactive's Chief Executive Officer, Strauss Zelnick. We'll dissect his cryptic comments, unravel what they truly mean for your wallet, and ask the ultimate question. Is Grand Theft Auto 6 about to shatter the glass ceiling of game pricing? And if it does, can it possibly deliver on a $100 promise? The firestorm began during a seemingly routine interview with the publication Variety. When the interviewer posed the direct billion-dollar question about the price of Grand Theft Auto 6, the Take-Two CEO masterfully dodged, weaved, and responded with a line of pristine corporate speak that sent shockwaves of speculation across the entire gaming landscape. He said, and I quote directly, "Our goal always is to deliver more value than what we charge." On the surface, this is a comforting, almost noble sentiment. Of course, we all want more value for our money. But in the world of corporate finance and marketing, words like these are rarely simple promises. They are strategic positioning. Let's really break down what this means. By tying the price to value, Zelnick is preemptively building a defense for a higher price point. If the company is indeed floating the idea of a $100 base price, this statement is their foundational argument. It suggests they believe the intrinsic value of Grand Theft Auto 6 is somewhere significantly higher, perhaps $150 or even $200 in their internal metrics. What could possibly constitute that level of value, especially when development costs are rumored to have soared past the $1 billion or even $2 billion mark? Are we talking about a game world in Leonida that is not only vast but evolves in real time for years to come? An unprecedented level of interactivity and detail that makes all previous open worlds, even Red Dead Redemption 2, look like prototypes? Or is value simply a measure of projected playtime, where a 500-hour experience justifies the cost? This ambiguity is intentional. It leaves them room to define value however they see fit, all while preparing the public for a price tag that would have been considered absurd just a few years ago. Zelnick continued to lay the groundwork, hinting at the release strategy. He mentioned, "The approach of the industry is to launch at a premium price, sometimes with special editions, and over time, typically to reduce the price to enhance the overall size of the market." Again, this sounds like business as usual, but the context is everything. When the starting premium price is $100, the entire scale shifts. What would a deluxe edition cost? $150? What about an ultimate collector's edition? Are we approaching the $200 mark for a single game release? This isn't just about the superfans willing to pay anything. The real danger here is the fundamental erosion of choice for the average player. For decades, the tiered system offered a way in for everyone. You could buy the standard $60 then $70 version and be part of the cultural conversation on day one. The more expensive editions were a choice, an optional luxury. But if the barrier to entry itself is raised to $100, that choice is effectively eliminated. The message becomes stark and unforgiving. Pay a small fortune, or you're left out of the biggest gaming event of the generation. It's a new kind of exclusivity, one based not on platform, but purely on economic class. The psychology of that purchase also changes. A $70 game can still be an impulse buy for some, but a $100 game is a calculated investment. It creates immense pressure, not just on the developer to deliver perfection, but on the player to extract every ounce of value from their purchase, potentially turning play into a chore to justify the expense. To fully grasp the magnitude of this potential leap, we have to look at the recent history of game pricing. The industry just dragged itself, kicking and screaming, through the transition from a $60 standard to a $70 one. Publishers cited inflation and ballooning development costs, and while many gamers were unhappy, the new price point eventually became the norm for major AAA releases. But there is a clear ceiling to what consumers will tolerate. We saw this tested very recently. Microsoft initially announced an $80 price for the upcoming The Outer Worlds 2. The community backlash was instantaneous and ferocious. The message was clear: you have not earned this. Microsoft listened and swiftly walked the price back down to the $70 standard. And that's the key, isn't it? The Outer Worlds, while a beloved series, is a smaller, more contained RPG. It was, frankly, a terrible candidate to serve as a battering ram against the next price wall. But Grand Theft Auto 6? That's a different beast entirely. It's not a yearly release like Call of Duty or a sports title. It is a once-in-a-generation cultural event. Take-Two and Rockstar are betting that the hype, the brand recognition, and the sheer cultural weight of GTA is so immense that it can succeed where others would fail. They believe they have the one game, the one cultural juggernaut that can not only break the $80 barrier, but leapfrog it entirely and establish a new, terrifying $100 precedent. If you've been feeling the pinch from rising game prices already, this latest development is probably setting off all kinds of alarm bells. If you think $100 is a step too far, hit that like button to let us know. It will be fascinating to see how many people are on the same page. This conversation goes beyond mere industry analysis. It's deeply personal and impacts the real-world finances of every single person who plans on playing this game. Let's paint a picture that will play out in millions of households worldwide. Imagine a 16-year-old who has been watching trailers, reading theories, and dreaming of exploring the new Vice City for years. The game is finally out. They go to their parents, their excitement palpable, and ask for the money to buy it. How does that conversation unfold when the price isn't $60 or $70, but $100 plus tax? Mom, Dad, can I have $100 for a new video game? In an economic climate where families are already grappling with inflation and the rising cost of everything from groceries to gas, that's a much harder sell. Is this the inflection point where parents, who might have reluctantly agreed to $60 in the past, finally put their foot down and say, absolutely not? This could create a new generational divide in gaming, where access to the biggest titles is determined by household income. It affects not just kids, but students scraping by on loans, and even adult gamers who have to budget carefully. And what about the global market? $100 translates to a vastly different level of purchasing power in other countries, potentially walling off the game from entire regions. This isn't just a price, it's a gate. Of course, the price isn't the only number that has kept the community on the edge of its seat. The release date itself has been a saga of speculation, anxiety, and debate. After Rockstar officially announced a delay from an initial 2025 window, a wave of cynicism washed over the fanbase. The consensus among many was that another delay was inevitable, pushing the game into 2027 or beyond. This is Rockstar time, after all. However, in a candid interview with CNBC, Strauss Zelnick presented a front of unwavering confidence. When pressed about the new May 2026 release date, he didn't hesitate, stating, "My level of conviction is very, very high, obviously." This is a powerfully assertive statement from the leader of a company whose flagship studio, Rockstar Games, is legendary for its perfectionism and willingness to delay games for years to get them right. Just look at the multiple delays for Red Dead Redemption 2. But the circumstances are different now. The financial pressure on Take-Two is simply colossal. Analysts are not just predicting success, they are forecasting a billion-dollar launch, a financial event that will prop up the company's entire fiscal year. Missing that May 2026 target would not just be a PR problem, it would be a potential catastrophe for their stock price and a nightmare for their relationship with shareholders. In this high-stakes game, the happiness of shareholders is a powerful motivator, perhaps even powerful enough to keep the notorious perfectionism of Rockstar on a tighter leash. This all converges into the central, fascinating conflict at the very heart of Grand Theft Auto 6, the titanic struggle between sky-high creative expectations and the cold, hard realities of corporate finance. For over 10 years, this game has been a canvas onto which millions have projected their hopes for the future of gaming. It has become a myth, a legend, a benchmark that doesn't even exist yet. The question has always been, can any real, tangible product, built by talented but ultimately human developers, ever truly live up to this mountain of hype? Now, that challenge is compounded exponentially. Can it live up to the hype and justify a $100 price of admission? That's the billion-dollar gamble. The men and women at Rockstar are artisans, among the best in the business. We saw their dedication to world building in Red Dead Redemption 2, a masterpiece of interactive art. But we also saw the other side of the coin with Grand Theft Auto Online, which evolved from a fun multiplayer mode into a multi-billion-dollar revenue engine driven by microtransactions. Grand Theft Auto 6 will be the ultimate test of this duality. Will the single-player experience be a self-contained work of art, or will it feel like an elaborate tutorial for the next generation of online monetization? Zelnick's confidence is almost certainly a reflection of his trust in Rockstar's ability to deliver. They crunched the numbers, they assessed the remaining work, and they landed on May 2026 as a target they can hit. The question for us, the players, is whether the final product will feel like a triumph of artistry or a meticulously calculated product designed to extract maximum revenue. As we steamroll towards 2026, the abstract speculation will soon give way to concrete facts. The next major milestone will be the launch of pre-orders, a moment that feels tantalizingly close, perhaps even slated for the end of this year. That will be the day of reckoning. The price will be officially unveiled, no longer a matter of interpretation, and the industry will collectively hold its breath. The launch of Grand Theft Auto 6 will be more than just another big game release. In an era of declining physical media sales, it represents what could be the last great hurrah for brick-and-mortar retailers. It could be the single most significant physical launch in the history of stores like GameStop, Best Buy, and Target, a final, beautiful supernova before the inevitable digital future. These companies will need a significant lead time to manage the immense logistics of stocking the literal millions of copies that will be sold on day one. This logistical necessity means that Take-Two cannot keep the price a secret for much longer. The reveal is coming, and it will set the tone for the entire launch and, potentially, the entire generation of gaming to follow. So here we stand, at a pivotal moment in gaming history. Grand Theft Auto 6 is destined to be a cultural phenomenon, a landmark event that will consume the entertainment world. But it could also be the harbinger of a new, more prohibitively expensive era for our hobby. Is the promise of a revolutionary open-world experience in a sun-soaked Vice City enough to convince tens of millions of people to hand over $100 without blinking? Or does this represent a moment of corporate hubris, a gamble so audacious that it risks alienating the very fan base that built the franchise into a titan? The future of AAA game pricing could very well be decided by the success or failure of this strategy. We are watching it all unfold in real time, and we'll be here to analyze every development. If you want to join us on this journey and stay informed on every twist and turn for GTA 6 and the industry at large, make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on, as you won't want to miss what's coming next. In the end, the most powerful voice in this entire debate belongs to you, the consumer. Your wallet is your vote. The ultimate question is one you must answer for yourself. What is the absolute maximum you would pay for Grand Theft Auto 6? Would you shell out $100, trusting in Rockstar's legacy to deliver an experience worthy of the cost? Or is there a definitive line in the sand that you will not cross, no matter how good the game might be? This is a conversation that is only going to get louder and more intense as we approach the pre-order date. We want to know where you stand. Share your thoughts, your price limit, and your reasoning in the comments below. Are you all in, or is this a heist you're willing to sit out? The answer will shape the future of the games we play. No pressure.